So over the weekend just gone, Red Bull hosted the Art of Motion, which is kind of the yearly free running competition, the biggest parkour and free running competition, arguably, within the sport. I've got a couple of things to say about it, a couple of points you might not agree with, a couple of the points you probably agree with. It's just my opinion, take it as it is. It's not meant to offend anyone, but if you are offended, sort of look at yourself. Red Bull, obviously, are one of the only big companies outside of like the parkour free running space that have actually noticed the sport and have decided to see its potential and invest money into competitions and things like that, and athletes and etc. Nothing wrong with that. Red Bull have done a lot for the sport in that sort of sense. It gives people more than just the social media like Instagram and TikTok and stuff to scroll through it and to potentially find parkour. You know, the Red Bull events do have massive spectatorship and a massive audience, and that's a good thing for the sport, especially a sport that's like so young like this. It's incredible and it's really, really good. But this year they changed the format ever so slightly for the Red Bull Art of Motion. Some people were complaining before that it was getting kind of like samey, being in Santorini each year, the same kind of format, and the last few years they've kind of been changing it up a bit, but this year they decided to change it again. The website synopsis for this year's Red Bull Art of Motion said that this year Red Bull Art of Motion is coming back to Greece with a new mission to reinvent what free running competitions look like. On their site, they state that the competition was reimagining free running contests with a brand new multi-day collaborative competition format based on 3 different challenges that will put athletes' skills to the test like never before. And to host this radical new event format, we are taking over a whole island for the 16 finalists to showcase their skills on. In theory, sounds good. Execution, little bit shit. I'm just gonna go out and say that again. I put this on my Instagram yesterday, kind of calling out, not necessarily calling out because I don't have a big enough audience for that, but you know, making some comments on the Art of Motion, which a lot of people seem to agree on. The qualifiers and the finals were no more. For the first time, participants will face a multi-part competition with 3-day challenges that put their skills to the test during a collaborative 3-day event. Red Bull Art of Motion 2022 will consist of 3 challenges, and the top 5 athletes in each challenge will receive points for their total score. The athlete with the highest points total at the end of the 3 challenges will be crowned the champion. So like, following last year, the Red Bull Art of Motion was already in some hot water after like doing the whole boat thing. They basically made people do a course from one boat to the other, and the show was like less than stellar last year as well. It was a little bit of a letdown compared to previous years, but yeah, this year's competing was just different, and you know, I'm all for embracing change and for making that change, but it just seemed very, very different. I just want to say now that I'm not shitting on the athletes for competing. The athletes are way more talented than I am and will ever be. And it's sick, you know, that they can go out to these competitions. You know, we've all got rent, we all need to fucking eat. And it's sick that they can go to these competitions and throw down, and it is quite enjoyable watching them throw down. You know, people like Vicky, Ed Scott, Bob Reese, you know, the rise of females within the sport as well. It's just incredible seeing them all throw down. And yeah, so I just want to say that I'm not shitting on anyone participating. It's more about the event itself. So this year, 9 out of the 16 competitors were from last year's competition. So there's only a little bit of fresh blood in the sort of lineup. I could be wrong on that number as well. I tried to research it as much as I could, but yeah, 9 out of the 16 competitors were from last year's competition. 10 if you count DK, who was due to compete last year but had to pull out due to a leg injury. And technically it's 11 if you count Ella from Mexico, who missed out on an invite last year due to travel restrictions because of the pandemic. And as I mentioned before, they took away the on-site qualifiers. So sadly, taking away the on-site qualifiers mean one thing, and that means that the community isn't going to be interested to flying out to support the event. What I've kind of noticed from conversation with people is no one knew that this was happening. Like, there was the build-up for the Red Bull. They did online qualifiers for one person, which is stupid, and only one person got chosen to fly out. So yeah, no one really knew a lot of the things. Like a lot of people were saying they didn't know the Red Bull Art of Motion was happening until they saw it on people's Instagram stories and stuff, which is strange considering if you look previously how much of a crowd the Red Bull Art of Motion brings, especially from the free running community, for a sport that's so like community interested and community invested, basically having none of the community apart from this kind of like elite invited group just doesn't make sense. Red Bull Art of Motion has always been a spectator event. Let's be real here. It's not been the most sort of accurate description of a parkour competition, if you want to give an accurate description. But it's a spectator event, and this year they've just fucked off all the spectators and only having sort of X amount of people on the island. And I know you could argue that there's been restrictions and pandemics and all of that, but in Greece last year, you had loads of people going out there to view it. So I just don't see sort of why this year they've decided to just have this sort of almost elite club of people go out there and sort of do it. The thing is, the on-site qualifiers as well were always my favourite part of the competitions, because you got to see people, going out there for this giant free-for-all on a course. And the best bit is like some of these people are like relative unknowns as well. Like the best bit about the Art of Motion is discovering athletes that, you didn't know about or you didn't know too much about, and then they go to the on-site qualifiers risking it all. Like they've bought a one-way ticket to fly out to the Red Bull Art of Motion with the hopes that they can make it on the on-site qualifiers and get their travel paid for and stuff like that. Like those sort of stories are fucking sick, and there's none of that this year. It's kind of lost its touch a little bit with the whole fucking like restricting who's competing in the on-site qualifiers and stuff. Red Bull Art of Motion has consistently had an inequality problem. Before I dive into this topic, I know that I'm a white, cis, hetero, straight dude talking about this, and I try to be the best ally to marginalised communities like LGBTQ and people of colour and more that I can be. But with that being said, I just want to point out that I care about these sort of like social issues and stuff. But 11 out of the 16 competitors identified as male. It's not a problem at all. Like there's no problem with what you identify as whatsoever. The problem is you've got 16 slots, 11 of those taken up by men, and there are so many fucking sick women in the sport now, and they're absolutely killing it. This year there's still only one on the podium, only Sydney Olsen making the podium and getting best female, and it's just not giving the kind of equal opportunity within the sport. They state that parkour is for everyone, that everyone can kind of do it, but we're still very marginalised in the fucking competition space. And definitely more grassroots projects like parkour competition stuff are pushing for more inclusivity of women, but these big spectator events aren't, and we need to lead by example. Don't let these events like do that sort of thing. I always felt within the competition that female competitors were cheated in some sort of way. In previous years and stuff, there would only be like one woman competing and there'd be the award for best female. Now, it's not like a bad thing. I think it's good to reward it, but if you've got one female competing and then you give the best female award to the one female that is competing, it almost just feels to me like a gold star for showing up sort of thing. There's 5 women this year. That is enough to have a women's division of the Red Bull Art of Motion. You can open up 20 slots, 10 men, 10 women, do a men's and a women's division, equal pay prize opportunities as well. Let's not skimp out here and give the males more money for winning than the females. Let's equal the prize pot. There's enough for it. Imagine, like, you can bring so much more into the fucking sport by doing that, and we're still kind of going down this route. And it's just fucking crazy. And I know people, and I've sort of discussed this topic with people who I've spoken to transgender people about this, and they have sort of felt a bit cheated by Red Bull before as well, and they've been shunned. And it just takes away the idea of the sport being as fucking accessible to everyone. Competition layout we're going to dive into now. So it's down into like 3 events. So you've got exploration, spot challenge, and then like for the final day. So I've kind of made some comments on each one. So the exploration is basically the most like accurate to a parkour training session you'll probably get. You basically go out and uncover the best locations on the island suited to the skill and film a clip to impress the judges. Film up to 3 clips, and they'll be submitted, and then the judges will look at them, pick the best clip, and then be like, cool, what do we rank this, sort of thing. So it takes heavy inspiration from the Own the Spot event that happens in Eindhoven, and you know, it's been in like skate games and been seen massively in the skate community, and it states that athletes will be working together, so which is really fucking cool, because like I was having a conversation with someone the other day that they want to see more competitions of people working together. You know, the best sort of parkour challenges are the ones that you work on with other people and you work on with your friends, rather than kind of doing it with the subtle idea of, you know, you're doing it to win, or you're doing it to like battle each other out, sort of thing. This type of format is incredibly good and it does work for single athletes, but if you're doing that, maybe start including teams. You know, bring teams in, like have teams go out and make something, like make a video or something. You know, it's the perfect format for it. And I think, you know, that I don't have much to say negatively about this format, apart from the whole, you know, it's basically go out and get the best Instagram clip that you fucking can. We're slowly going down to that modern slavery of fucking doing everything for social media and algorithms and stupid bullshit. The beauty of it before was having like the course, and people had to prep 1 or 2 lines on the course, and it was, everyone had the same course. There was no difference, and you know, it's how you used it. It's like how you navigated the environment, going back to like the core principles of parkour, rather than going out and finding something. I think it's a good idea, but this whole shoot a clip and then the best clip is good takes away from this whole idea of documentation. Like you can go onto YouTube and type in Parkour 07 and see like the world's first Kong gainer and shit, and we're losing that now because this whole Instagram culture is fucking taken over, and there's going to be like no like landmarks for the sport. It's all going to be on fucking Instagram, and it's all just going to be lost in fucking algorithms and stuff and down feeds and shit. So Spot Challenge was the second one, and that was basically you had the track and they paired the athletes with a filmmaker. Now the filmmakers were from the parkour community, and I think this is fucking sick because one, it eliminates the problem of the cameramen getting in the way of people doing their lines during the competition, which has been a reoccurring theme for fucking years. And it gives people who are, you know, filmmakers, not necessarily the best athletes, but people who are filmmakers within the sport, the chance to shine and the chance to work with these athletes that they may not have worked with before. And I think this is incredible. I think this is a really good format. I think it gives opportunities for others in the sport to kind of monetize and, you know, get that sort of career going for it. It's pretty much the closest to like previous Art Emotions, with the fact they have a course with like a 45-second to 60-second line. Criteria is pretty much same judging wise as well. The judges this year were Kai Willis, Lucy Romberg, Jason Paul, Sergio Campos, Louisa Klim and Alex Schauer. And whilst I have a lot of respect for these athletes and these people and their contribution to the sport, I don't think a lot of them are as connected as they once were. So kind of getting them to judge the competition feels a bit weird. The sport is forever growing and ever evolving quickly. I just find it slightly odd. These people that no longer participate in the sport or as active in the communities as they once were are judging the competition for what it is now. And I feel like as well, there are some biases, you know, we're a small community, friendships are formed, teammates will be competing, and whether you think so or not, sadly there's always the potential to be some kind of bias because you want your teammate to do well, to represent their team or themselves or whatever. So the final day after a well-earned rest day is the final day's challenge. There's a combo style competition where all finalists will throw down short but powerful combos or massive single moves with a maximum time limit of 10 seconds. Basically, it's best fucking trick. They'll compete in heats of 4 and each athlete will get 3 attempts to achieve the best possible score, scoring on a scale of 0 to 10, and the average of the scores will be the total score of the run. Rather than being streamed on YouTube, this year, for whatever fucking reason, Red Bull have decided to stream the thing on fucking TikTok. I don't need to say more about that. It is a bunch of horse shit. The best bit about the Red Bull Art Emotion was getting your friends together, sticking it on the TV, sitting around the laptop, and watching the fucking event unfold, rather than just having the final day streamed to your fucking smartphone with a screen like that big, and you're all just huddled around it. I think it's fucking ridiculous. It's stupid. Streaming it on YouTube and streaming it on TV, it gives the potential to gain such a wider fucking audience. You got to think how young the sport still is and how we need it to be taken seriously, and we're trying to get people to take the sport fucking seriously. And then you're doing it on fucking TikTok. Like, do it on TikTok, but do it on YouTube and other shit as well. Basically, it takes another part away from the competition, and that again, it's the community thing. It's an event, it's a spectator event that's just not involving the community whatsoever. And it's a con, because they're getting you to join TikTok to watch this fucking event and promoting you to use the platform. But once you start using the platform and posting your training clips and stuff, TikTok will just remove your fucking content. So Red Bull are allowed to post this content, but you can't post this content at all. And it just lines the fucking pockets of these companies and shit. And it's repetitive and it's boring. And I like the new format. Don't get me wrong. I think the new format has its perks. It is difficult to kind of see who's done what. And the final day being streamed on TikTok is fucking useless. But with a bit of tweaking, more inclusion for genders, more community, bring the fucking community in. Don't turn your back on the community, and don't make it this exclusive club of people who, you know, are invited out there. Get the community out there, get the spectatorship, let people fucking watch it. It's what it's for. And just going forward, I think we just need to support fucking grassroots parkour competitions and set a fucking standard a lot more. Just because it's Red Bull doesn't mean that they can take away from the community aspect and bringing the people together, shunning absolutely sick female athletes and keeping them in the shadows, and just going to get an audience. Like, you know, Red Bull is a show company. It's an energy drink company, and it's a show company. We don't have to stand for that. Like, these people who are representing our sport by working with Red Bull on these competitions need to buck their fucking ideas up and actually turn around and be like, no, this is not in the best interest of growing the sport and the community. And I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for talking out about this, but a few people agree with me that we didn't know it was happening this year. It is still incredibly fucking unequal, whatever the term is. Putting it on TikTok's a fucking stupid idea. The judging is out of touch and needs to fucking change. So, rant over, new video tomorrow. See you then.